Scientists report that the planetary climate crisis has affected about 9 million types of plants and animal people. Should climate conditions continue to deteriorate, we stand to lose about 1 million beings in the next decade. Please continue watching to find out more.
Don't be vegan, because hell is waiting for you.
Hello alle sammen means hey everyone in Norwegian, the official language of Svalbard, Norway. Joyful viewers, I'm Inga, a vegan person from the polar bear kingdom of Svalbard in the high Arctic. All the inhabitants of my hometown pray that your concerted efforts to protect our beautiful homeland from the disastrous effects of climate change soon bear fruit. Welcome to our show, titled Arctic Animal People and the Devastating Impact of Climate Change. Scientists report that the planetary climate crisis has affected about 9 million types of plants and animal people. Should climate conditions continue to deteriorate, we stand to lose about 1 million beings in the next decade. That's about 18% of the plant species and 22% of the animal people on Earth that will disappear if the average global temperature increases 2 degrees Celsius by 2100. For the past 30 years, temperatures in the Arctic regions have climbed steadily at 2 to 3 times the level observed elsewhere in the world. The Royal Society, the independent scientific academy of the United Kingdom, has been tracking satellite images of ice caps and their movement since 1978. Their study has found that floating ice sheets have become thinner and that the Arctic sea ice has shrunk to an alarming 40% of its original mass. Scientists estimate that increased temperatures have caused an area of polar ice the size of India to melt. Compounding the seriousness of the situation is the fact that the permafrost zones are thawing and glaciers in Alaska, Greenland and northern Canada are receding. We polar bear people, as well as a great number of other Arctic people of the animal kingdom, urgently seek your help with the crisis we are facing, in particular the loss of our essential habitats and the effects of drastic changes to the seasons on our lives. A recent study by scientists suggests that if the situation doesn't improve, we could disappear from the Arctic by the end of this century. With the ice retreating earlier in spring and reforming much later than normal in winter, we polar bear people have to expend much more energy to swim farther than before in order to reach the first ice sheet available. Since these ice sheets supply us with our food, having fewer of them and needing to consume more energy to reach them have a critical impact on our ability to get the sustenance we need to survive. We females, for example, have greater difficulty sustaining ourselves and storing enough energy to produce milk for our kids. And this causes some of us to not reproduce at all. Furthermore, warming temperatures in winter can cause our homes to collapse, preventing us mama bear people from nurturing and protecting our children. Another species of animal people, the Arctic foxes, experience similar challenges triggered by the warming of their tundra habitat, causing declining food supplies and increased competition with other animal people as they all move north towards colder climates. It has been estimated that the adult population of Arctic fox people in Norway, Sweden, and Finland stands at only 200. How about the muskox people? They reside in the frozen Arctic tundra, and they too are experiencing the negative impacts of climate change. These gentle giants feed on grass, sedges, forbs, moss, lichen, and other plants. Muskox people dig through the snow with their hooves, noses, and horns to reach their food. But with climate change, more rain instead of snow is falling during winter, and it sometimes freezes into a hard layer of ice, which makes this foraging process difficult. Furthermore, heavy downpours soak the muskox people's thick shaggy coats, which puts them, and especially their young, at risk of freezing to death in winter. Walrus and seal people must use a sea ice platform when resting, breeding, and looking for food. As benthic foragers, they source their food at the bottom of the sea, so they need to leave their babies on the ice while diving below for food. As ice sheets detach and drift away, many walrus and seal people can no longer dive from the edge of their ice sheet as they did in the past. Instead, they must swim further, sometimes up to 180 kilometres further, in order to reach areas with abundant sources of food. These exhausting swims affect the females so badly that they have reduced birth rates. Once the babies are born, they are at risk of suffering from malnutrition as a result of having to wait many hours for their meals. Loss of sea ice is also forcing our walrus and seal people friends to spend longer periods of time on land. Consequently, they are more exposed to humans and their motorized crafts that can startle them and sometimes result in stampedes where younglings risk getting crushed. Scientists have estimated that their population in the Bering and Chukchi seas may have declined by 50% due to these drastic changes to their natural environment and living conditions.
No to vegan, because you can get sick by the COVID-19 pandemic. You wouldn't care.
Nature-loving viewers, I am going to enjoy a short swim and return refreshed and energized. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Welcome back to Arctic Animal People and the devastating impact of climate change on Supreme Master Television. There are many more Arctic animal people affected by the climate crisis. The narwhal whale people, also known as the unicorns of the sea due to their spiralling tusks, are well suited to living in regions with thick ice. The melting of sea ice exposes them to environmental stresses such as noise that can cause difficulty in communicating with their young and even deafness. Narwhal whale people breathe air through cracks in the ice. However, ice melting and refreezing caused by extreme temperature changes may completely seal the cracks and leave them trapped underneath, unable to breathe. Climate change also affects migratory bird people that travel between the Arctic, the tropics, and the temperate zones. One such case is the red-knot people, a type of wading bird people that breed in the Arctic. It has been found that mums hatch their babies earlier as a result of disturbances to seasonal patterns. This means that when hatching season occurs for the red knot babies, their main source of sustenance is past its peak and no longer as readily available. Newborn red knot babies now eat less than they used to due to their diminishing food sources. Lacking nutrients, these young bird people must embark on a journey of nearly 15,000 kilometres from the high Russian Arctic to their wintering grounds on the Mauritania coast in West Africa. Numerous challenges caused by climate change await along their migratory path, such as a receding tundra, rising sea levels, extreme weather conditions, and ocean acidification. Scientists have found that the size of young red knot people has reduced by about 15% since 1985 due to stress and inadequate nutrition. As a result, from the mid-1980s until 2003, the red knot people population has declined by more than 50%. Countless other Arctic animal people are victims of climate change, like Kittlit's merlet people, the spectacled eider people, the ivory gull people, the tundra-dwelling caribou people, the sea butterfly people, the bowhead whale people, the beluga whale people, the bearded seal people, the ringed seal people, and the lemming people, to name just a few. The climate crisis brings about habitat loss, reduced food supply, and new diseases introduced by animal people venturing further north. Furthermore, some germs which we have lived with for a long time are becoming more dangerous due to the warmer weather. For example, anthrax bacteria released from the thawed permafrost following a record heatwave in the summers of 2016 and 2017 killed 250,000 reindeer people in western Siberia. Arctic animal people have long been isolated from the rest of the world. Record high heat makes us vulnerable to infections, and a great many of us lack immunity against the newly introduced diseases. Our muskox people friends still remember the ordeal they experienced between 2010 and 2014, when thousands of their family and friends died from the pathogen bacterium normally found in pig people, bird people, and rodent people. In 2010, they numbered around 38,000 on Banks Island, while there are only about 14,000 there today. Another upheaval was the lungworm infection that caused the deaths of thousands of muskox people. With climate change, lungworms can now complete their life cycle in 1 year rather than 2, resulting in large quantities of the worms thriving in areas where they were not commonly found before. The melting of sea ice between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans has opened up travel routes through the Russian Arctic. The Phocine distemper virus, or PDV, which was usually found in the Atlantic Ocean, has recently been carried by Atlantic seal people to the Pacific. The virus has now been detected in Pacific marine beings such as sea otter people, sea lion people, and seal people. Scientists believe that this PDV infection led to the significant population decline of sea otter people along the coast of Alaska, particularly in the Aleutian Islands. In the Aleutian archipelago, the number of sea otter people decreased from about 74,000 to 8,742 by the year 2000. And from the 1980s to today, only about half of the sea otter people living southeast of Alaska have survived. It is of utmost importance that we limit the loss of Arctic ice due to its critical role in regulating global temperatures. A warmer Arctic leads to a warmer planet, and that spells disaster and extinction for many beings, and even humans too. Insightful viewers, Thank you for allowing us to show you how us Arctic animal people are suffering as a result of the climate change. We hope humans will take urgent action now to combat climate change before it's too late. The fastest way to curb its impact is to adopt the compassionate vegan diet. Let's do our part to end the climate crisis and help save many precious lives. Please be vegan and make peace. All information concerning the scientific evidence of climate change and its solution is in Supreme Master Ching Hai's book, From Crisis to Peace, free to download at crisis2peace.org.
Recognize meat for what it really is, the antibiotic and pesticide-laden corpse of a tortured animal. Ingrid Newkirk, vegan.
Compassionate viewers, thank you for joining us for today's show. May the world find peace and guidance through God's words of wisdom, so that a peaceful vegan world will come soon.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/AW.